Let me ask you about some of your other promises on this topic. You've promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fast forward just around 5 months from that interview, and what do we have? We do, in fact, have an executive order that President Donald Trump signed day one that ended birthright citizenship. And I'm going to cover why that executive order needs to remain in place and why birthright citizenship does, in fact, need to end right here on American Advocates. President Donald Trump has taken to social media again, reminding everyone of an important U.S. Supreme Court case currently being heard when it comes to his executive order on birthright citizenship. Reminding everyone in his post that birthright citizenship was not meant for people taking vacations to become permanent citizens of the United States of America and bringing their families with them. In Trump's own words, doing so while laughing at the suckers that we are. He then goes on to explain the original context of the 14th Amendment, which he has addressed several times in the Oval Office and to the American media. Let's first and foremost take a look at the executive order that President Donald Trump signed day one when he gained the presidency. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. The stated purpose, the privilege of United States citizenship is a priceless and profound gift. The 14th Amendment states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. The executive order then goes on to state, but the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born within the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenship persons who were born in the United States but not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And this is what it's all boiling down to: interpretation. Surprise, surprise, the Constitution is subject to a wide array of different interpretations that politicians are essentially paid six-figure salaries to argue about on a yearly basis. But the key to the 14th Amendment does in fact lie within the term jurisdiction, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. You see, back to his social media post, President Donald Trump recites the history of the original intention of birthright citizenship is about the babies of slaves. As conclusive proof, the Civil War ended in 1865. The bill went to Congress less than a year later in 1866 and was passed shortly after that. It had nothing to do with illegal immigration for people wanting to scam our country from all parts of the world, which they have done for many years. And other countries using the 14th Amendment to scam our country is indeed happening. Take a look at this phone call that came into C-SPAN not too long ago, where a caller reveals that many countries, including very likely the Chinese, are completely taking advantage of the 14th Amendment.
If your guest knows what a Chinese maternity house is, they're houses where the Chinese government takes citizens that when they're in their 7th or 8th month, they ship them here for a month, they let them have their children, and then once they have their children, they take them back to China, where now they're U.S. citizens, but they're raised in China, they're loyal to China. We know they're doing it, but they're still getting away with it.
Yes, there is a birth tourism industry where people will pay to come to our shores in their 7th or 8th month of pregnancy when it's still relatively safe to travel, and they will then stay in hospitals until they give birth, and they will go back into their countries. And there are certainly evidence out there that there are some countries, it surprised me if it was China, that are in fact sending people here to give birth so that at some point they can take those children who have been living back in China for many, many years and bring them back to the United States and then claim that that the people that are coming back to the United States are in fact U.S. citizens by dint of the fact that they were born on our shores. I believe it is exactly abuses like that among many that led President Trump to enter the executive order that he did.
And so essentially, these maternity houses are set up all across America, waiting to receive pregnant women from all across the world in their 7th or 8th month, where they will then come here and hide in them and possibly wind up taking advantage of our health care and going to hospitals to give birth to these children, who are then instantly recognized as citizens upon birth due to the birthright citizenship misinterpretation. You see, it should not nearly be as easy as simply crossing the border illegally and then giving birth within a relatively quick time frame of that to a child who is then a citizen of America. What should in fact happen instead is, once found, both the mother and the child are deported back to their country of origin, and the child is not recognized as a citizen.
If somebody sets a foot, just a foot, 1 foot, you don't need to, on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, We're going to end that because it's ridiculous.
Through executive
Do you know,
action?
Well, if we can, through executive action.
This is not only fair, but the important thing to note about this is how we protect our culture. As President Donald Trump stated in that interview I included at the beginning of this video, we're the only country in the world that recognizes this. We're the only country dumb enough to do stuff like this. But not any longer. Not under President Donald Trump. Now, the only problem is the Supreme Court has to hear the arguments, and they have to decide that they want to uphold President Donald Trump's executive order that ends birthright citizenship. And the decision that the Supreme Court winds up making in regards to this could wind up being very disappointing. You see, President Donald Trump is apparently going to need the support of either Amy Coney Barrett, who has wound up becoming a Judas traitor. Trump appointed her himself, and she has done nothing but show disdain and resent for President Donald Trump, defying him seemingly 75% of the time. Or he's going to need the support of Chief Justice Roberts, who has also made plenty of terrible decisions throughout his time on the Supreme Court. It'll be interesting to see how all of this unfolds. I'm paying attention to it personally very closely because I think it's very important going forward for our country to stop allowing illegal immigrants to flood our nation and give birth to children that are instantly recognized as citizens. I think it's damaging to our country and our culture to allow this. But what are your thoughts and opinions on it? I'm genuinely curious to know. So leave a comment down below on what you think the ultimate result for birthright citizenship should be. Should all children born here, regardless of circumstance, be recognized as sovereign United States citizens? Or should that be an earned title given only to properly documented and legal migrants who bothered to go through the process of doing things correctly? As always, thanks for watching and subscribe for more.